In a world riddled by literally millions of games and ever rising game prices, quality gaming on a budget can seem almost impossible. Welcome to the Nexus Roundtable, where we show that not only can you game on a budget, but you can also enjoy quality gaming. Stay tuned as we analyze today's game based on these 5 criteria: arts and graphics, game controls, gameplay, ingenuity, and overall rating. When we're done, we'll let you know whether we consider it a stud or a dud. But before we get to the review, we will do some introductions, talk about the streaming updates, and let you know what's what in the world of gaming news. Alright, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Nexus Roundtable. As you can tell, we've switched up our format a little. We're going to be doing this live, so those of you watching on YouTube can definitely join us live here on Twitch. We'll be doing this on Fridays. I'm sure Carson will tell us the schedule of that going forward. Today we're going to be reviewing 3 different games. We've got 2 full-size games, and then sort of a mini game from a friend of Carson's that is, in my opinion, a fun one to cover for us. So here we are today going forward with our... Geez, what is this, Carson? Has it been, 6 weeks, I think? It feels like it. It certainly feels like it's been a while.
It's been so
that
long.
Summer flu came through and seemed to hit every last one of us at one point or another.
Yeah. I even went to the hospital once, so yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, we don't like any of us being in the hospital.
No.
But
Not
that's,
me, I dodged the bullet and it was my router that died.
But we are back, and we're all here, and we all can actually say who we are and do this review.
Will our mighty Empress get us started off with introducing themselves?
I will. I am Carson. Carson KKWX. Carson is my name. KKWX is my empire. And I stream on Sunday at 10 a.m., Monday at 10 a.m., Wednesday at 1 p.m. with Tenable Target, Bales, and Java Hut. We will be doing Generation Zero. And then I have also this Friday, 1 o'clock for NRT. So, this is why we will either be playing games or we'll be reviewing. It'll be back and forth. So, there you go. Navarone.
Well, other than that, I usually don't have an intro as such. Now we're on you with the accent, whichever. Like everyone, variety streamer. Typically, I stream Friday through Monday. Times kind of vary, but it's usually like in the evening, UK time, because I'm the only one not in the US. Of late, I've been going through the Hitman trilogy, which I'm actually intending on continuing after we're finished here.
Cool. Alright.
Yeah.
So, Bullhead, would you like to explain yourself and your schedule?
Bullhead, long-time variety streamer. I've been recently getting back into streaming. Currently don't have a set schedule, but I tend to go live late at night, usually Eastern Standard Time. I've been currently into a lot of 7 Days to Die and zombie things, so hopefully after this people catch me later on, we can enjoy some chill times doing zombie survival stuff.
That sounds fun. Alright, now let's get into the actual part of looking forward into gaming. Go ahead, Bales. Yes,
Do you want to let me introduce myself? Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Bales. Evidently, I don't matter. So.
You do matter. What do you? I'm going to use the Chihuahua voice.
I am also a variety streamer. I like long walks on the beach, anything made with potatoes, and giving Karsa a hard time.
She's very good at it.
Yes. So, I don't have a set schedule either right now. I do have certain days, like Wednesday with Karsta, and obviously Fridays with NRT. but much like Bullhead, I'm coming back from a long break for health reasons, and so I'm trying to get settled back into a schedule of some kind, but I haven't quite figured out what that's going to look like for me, as my sleep schedule is still jumping around like a kid on a trampoline. So, but at least I'm here on Wednesdays and in Fridays, and please come join us for Generation Zero. We're having so much fun playing that game, and we'd love to have you there.
Oh, it has been a blast.
But Karsa, go ahead. Let's kick off this with the whatever we're doing next.
Well, we are actually doing the gaming news, and I believe that is your go today.
Woohoo! I get the mic again.
Yes.
Okay, so in the gaming news, geez, it's been a while since this has happened, but they had the Pokemon Presents for Scarlet and Violet. It was the only thing I was really interested in there. They did have a new regional form for Wooper. It looks like an Earth type, but it's actually poison. They released information on a new Pokemon called Fido that is absolutely adorable. There are now these things called Terrestrial Phenomenon, which will allow Pokemon to change types or boost their current type. It's the replacement for the what did they call it in the last gen? You guys remember? It wasn't like Mega Evolution, it was called something else. Dynamaxing. And the raid battles, it looks like raid battles will be returning, and that's how you'll get special terrestrial types for Pokemon. For those of you who haven't played it before, Inscription is now going to be coming out on consoles, although I don't have a specific date for you. If you've never played Inscription, it's an absolutely amazing card roguelike game. Do yourself a favor and don't read anything about it before you play it. Just play the game and let the story surprise you. September 6th, we have Disney Dreamlight Valley coming to Xbox Game Pass, which will be free for us. It's going to be early access, so obviously they're going to be correcting things, but it's interesting to be able to have beta access to this because, you know, I was interested in Disney meets Stardew Valley. Temtem, coming out September 6th as well for Xbox and Switch. It's been out in beta on the PC for a while, but now it's going 1.0. That's another Pokemon night game. Carson and I have been following something called Wildflowers. We're still expecting that sometime this month, but I don't have a date. Saga Frontier just came out on the Switch for anybody. I think that was, yesterday, I think? So, we got a few more things. Ooblets, which was on Xbox Game Pass for a while and is an amazingly fun combination of Stardew Valley and a card game. Little unusual to think about the combination, but they pull it off well. It has a good story and it is rather enjoyable. So that'll be releasing soon for 1.0 for all consoles. What else have I got here? Valkyrie Profile Ledith will be releasing September 29th. For those of you who have not played those games or have played them in the past, it is no longer made by Tri-Ace because Square Enix has purchased the company. That said, along with creating another Valkyrie profile, they, on October 27th, Star Ocean: The Divine Force, which was also a Tri-Ace series, is coming out. And after the absolutely horrible Star Ocean 5, I believe that was called Faith, Assist, and Integrity. Like, if this game doesn't do well, that series is dead, and that'll make me very sad, because it's one of my favorite series. And for me, that concludes the gaming news. Does anybody else have anything?
Well, Space Engineers, the game that I've stopped playing for a while so we can play Generation Zero, is going to be having an update within the next month. Then there's been a lot of updates in other games like Icarus and they've been becoming more and more stable. So yeah, there's quite a few things going on. Icarus had just had an update recently. They are going into their 38th week and working on becoming more and more stable, adding more things like more animals, more armor attachments, improvements, and critical hitbox has been also added to that. No Man's Sky is having an update. They're going to have their 8th expedition So that is a new update that we have as well. And so for the Space Engineers, that's July 2022. They're going to be working on creations for NPCs. That's what they're doing. And that's what I have. Anybody else?
We are 55 days away from Scorn coming out.
Scorn! Cool.
Oh, that game.
We're probably about the same amount of time from that new one that's not Dead Space 4. Callisto Protocol.
That's October.
I know Nightingale is coming out in the first part of 2023. And that one was interesting.
Oh, what's the name of the company? Deep Silva came out of freaking hibernation and announced Dead Island 2 is actually going to be released February of next year.
Yeah, they actually showed gameplay.
Yeah, they showed a gameplay video and footage. So I'm kind of really hoping that it's at least a stable game when it comes out. I was like thinking of zombie stuff, and I'm like, oh, they just mentioned that a couple of days ago. So
All right.
can't think of anything else that's out. Cult of the Lamb is pretty popular. What else?
Okay, so anything else as far as gaming news and looking forward to whatever gaming that's coming out?
Forspoken put out a new gameplay footage. Let me look it up real quick. I know that comes out. I think it was like beginning of the next year, but they put out more. Yeah, they put out 10 minutes of new gameplay footage if anyone wants to check that out, if they're interested in that game.
Nice. Alright, so if there's nothing else, we'll go into the gaming and talk about reviews. Alright, we got people. I see people. Alright, so
That's really debatable. I mean, you're an alien.
I'm not that bad. Can't think of
And
that
I'm a
bad.
butterfly.
Alright. So, the game that we're working on now for game review. Let's start with Knobs Media.
Oh yeah, my gameplay for this, yeah.
Yeah, so
I forgot that you had to download all like 300 million gig of this.
I did quite a bit. Alright, so do you remember what we used to use as our criteria?
Well, I
not have
have
the thing set up anymore?
I have a notepad thing about that.
Yes.
We used to have the little cues on screen. I guess we got rid of that, huh?
Did. I don't.
okay.
It's behind my picture, actually.
Ha!
Well, we
That's okay.
were going with the standard criteria of the artistry and graphics. of
Carson, can you put it in
of
the upper
game.
left-hand corner? Right next to the
Yes.
NRT logo, right behind it?
Yeah, fix. Let's do this.
I've
Alright,
played
let's
the
do that.
absolute hell out of this game, so I know all the stuff about the game. You play as a
Twilight.
shark, shockingly. You're a man-eating shark, and
Uh-huh.
you swim around in a place, and you eat people, and it's incredibly violent. Although it's comical violence, as you can see. And yes, it's also a teleporting electric shark.
I think that's
Okay,
awesome.
but what about the art and graphics?
Yeah.
Well, the arts and graphics, I thought I would actually mention about what the game is before I was like, yeah, it's got polygons.
It doesn't have polygons. They're just line art.
Nah, it's grease pencil. I do Blender art. I know what I'm talking about. But yeah,
Bunch of zeros and ones, man. Zeros and ones.
it is a very well done, exaggerated style. I actually quite like it because obviously, like, I mean, deep sea stuff is horrifying. I mean, look at that.
That's awesome.
That's
Really awesome.
yeah. I had to switch over to the bone version just to show the absolute tankiness of the shark when you get to end game, because that's where this is. But it doesn't really spoil anything. Shockingly, your shark gets stronger and is able to eat bigger stuff, including boats at times.
Yeah, especially in that form.
Yeah.
Alright, so arts and graphics, would you give it a star?
I mean, me personally, definitely.
Okay, cool.
Because the whole style of it is really good.
Alright. We're gonna be keeping it average this time. We're gonna see if that works better. So we got 1 star for Nav. And we'll keep that going. Alright. For Bullhead, how do you think about the arts and graphics?
I enjoyed them. I'd still give it a star. I think it had, like, it's not, they're not going, like, they were going for like, you could tell they were going for their own type of look and style. And for what the gameplay is, oh my god. For what the gameplay is, like, I think it fits very well with the tone they're trying to go for. So I will definitely give it a star, and I actually enjoyed it.
Cool. Alright. Bales, what do you think of this game? Even though I know that you didn't have to do it, but we're changing it up, so everybody gets a chance.
I mean, the graphics look great. I love the coloration underneath the water, and the light reflecting on the water is always a cool thing to see in modern games, because I still remember an era where you were lucky if they did anything with the water at all. So, I mean, it's amazing to see, like, the electric strikes going through the water as you have to dodge them, as you saw on screen just a few seconds ago. It just... the art looks absolutely amazing in this game, and I think it may honestly be one of the best perspectives, or the best things about the game is how well the art is done. So definitely getting a star from me.
Alright, that is great. Let's work on controls. If I can get controls to come up.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
State whether you're gonna do
yes. You know what? I totally forgot. Me. Of course I wanted it as a star. It was an amazing game. I had to play it over and over and over and over again. Anytime I had a chance, I would play it. I even played it offline. I got to the end. I actually 100% it. It was awesome.
Oh, I will actually mention this footage. I'm pretty sure I captured this with the console RTX thing on, because you get the ray tracing option if you're playing it via the Xbox One version. For some reason, it's not in the PC version currently that you can get through Game Pass, and thus also meaning this was actually through cloud.
Nice. Very nice. Now that we know that had cloud.
Yeah. And you can see how smooth that is.
Okay.
Which is where I'm saying, like, I can't actually remember if that footage that I recorded locally or via the cloud gaming part on Game Pass.
Cloud gaming has come a long way. So the fact that you have access that and then have RTX, because RTX is pretty demanding. Like, I'm glad what they're doing with RTX. I'm sad because my computer is really, like, looking at me weird for it, but
it is
really good.
Alright, so let's go into control, and we'll start again with you, Nav, since this is your game.
The only thing I actually have negative about the controls is the fact you have to push a button to go down underwater. You can't just look down. I know why they did it, because you would constantly be bobbing up and down because the way that the camera moves, it can only be so close to the surface. and then it like switches to the other thing. Like you can kind of see there as I dropped down, the camera shifted quite drastically. So they like that was I had to expressly tell the game I want to go underwater now. That's about the only thing that I would actually say is bad about it. Although I would hazard, if you have like problems with your hands, definitely play it on console. Not necessarily console, but play it with a controller, because things like that was an awesome jump that I just did there. The main attacking moves you've got are literally spamming the right trigger to bite, and tapping the right bumper to do the spin move, or when I had the electric stuff, it's the teleport dash thing, because that's your dash move, and they're both like your main forms of attack and movement throughout the game, and you will be pressing those buttons a lot.
Okay, cool. Bullhead, what about you for control? And would that be a
No,
star?
I would, because like other than those small caveats, the rest of it feels really good. Like the knifing thing where you swim along on the surface, but with just the fin sticking out. Like it's smooth. I never really got caught up on any of the terrain or anything. Sometimes you can get a little bit caught like into a corner where you got to try and wiggle the camera around, but overall it's usually because you went into a corner.
Right.
Usually the camera is very good at keeping everything quite well, and the controls are based on your camera angle, and it feels mostly fine other than those small caveats that I mentioned.
Okay.
So yeah, it's really good start.
Okay, star. Bullhead.
100% a star. I mean, it does get. I play on keyboard and mouse, and it does get pretty damn spammy when you want to attack and move around. But like as Nav was talking about with the camera thing, I think they like designed their levels really well, where it's not like making the camera go crazy when you're traveling around, and you're not going all over the place or getting stuck. So, like I had no problems with anything they were throwing at me control wise. So I don't know if I think everyone else played on controller. I might have been the only keyboard and mouse person, but like they let me customize the sensitivity, so my camera wasn't going crazy and things like that, and yeah, it was good for me.
All right, cool. And Bales, what did you think of the controls on this, or did you play it at all?
So I didn't play it, but listening to you, I guess the jet ski ran out of gas. Guessing, just based on what I'm hearing from you guys, sorry, about the jet ski thing, it seems like, especially, and I know this might seem like a minor thing for you guys, and we will talk about this if we ever review Generation Zero. His mentioning of being able to mess with the sensitivity is something that I don't think a lot of people appreciate enough in games, because that can really make a huge difference on whether you're able, like, from game to game to be able to adjust. Because I know there are certain games where you can't mess with the sensitivity, and I feel like my cursor moves way too slowly. So just for that factor alone, I will give this one a star, because that is something that is highly underrated and one of the best aspects of game controls.
Excellent.
Yeah, a lot of games that have cameras like this need it.
General controller remapping has come forward so far recently.
I would agree.
Like it's literally one of the things that I love about the Steam controller, in that when I have that hooked up, I can literally have any button do whatever I want. And playing with an Xbox controller on PC, if you want, you can go through Steam to remap your controls and get all fiddly in terms of having extra sensitivity stuff, and like, you know, pulling this trigger makes your right stick do something totally different now, stuff like that. It's come along so far, and you never hear people actually saying it's bloody good now. Because back in the day when I could literally just change between two presets, they were both bad.
Yeah.
I have in the Resident Evil.
I
You
will
only
give
can
it a
choose modes.
star as well, and I got to play it 2 different ways. I played it with the controls and with the keyboard. Because after a while my hands were really hurting, so I had to change over. But yeah, I really liked how it changed the sensitivity, how it did exactly what you all have been saying, and it made it very fun for me, which some games are not fun when I have to spam all the time. So yeah, I liked it. So it's a star. Anything else about controls?
I don't think so.
It's coming
Like
along
it's actually a shame that Bailey's not here for this thing I'm about to say, because when you mentioned there about like the water graphics, which are really good in the game considering you spend so much time in water like the entire game, but like I was really tempted to mention about like does anyone remember the fact that it was like mind blowing when you played the Metal Gear Solid demo and they had water that moved. It actually rippled and reacted to you when you stepped into water. It was insane.
It's like mirror tech. So remember when you playing a game, the first time you saw your reflection move in a mirror, you're like, "Whoa!"
Oh yeah, I
That's
still remember
me.
the first time I walked into Burger Shot in GTA San Andreas and noticed that there's a reflection on the ground, and then was kind of mind blown when I discovered that reflection is actually created by a mirror of the room and an extra player model that's upside down.
Yeah, like they went through you have to go through all these extra loops. I think it was in Duke Nukem. You went to the bathroom and you were able to see yourself move in the mirror. And you're like, what? That's insane. And now, like, game engines have come so far, they just generate that.
Well, like when you consider that back in the day, games like what's that one? It was an offshoot of things like Doom. You played as like a ninja. You ran around with a sword, killing people. It's like Day of the Triad or something.
Maybe.
That game actually had a super advanced little trick that they did when you went underwater, where they actually teleported you the moment you stepped into water that was deep enough and you appeared to go underwater. They were actually teleporting you into a separate room because they found there was a trick in EdTech that if your feet are not on the floor when you're teleported, it doesn't actually
Men in here, yeah.
hey Gibbs, it doesn't actually hit you with it doesn't show you the teleport effect. So that's why people never clicked that they were actually being teleported when they went underwater. And Rise of the Triad, that was it.
I don't know if the game... It looks like gameplay is messed up, so we will just say this is gameplay. The next part is gameplay. And, alright, so...
I could talk about gameplay, that's for sure.
Let's do it.
Well, it's, as you can see from the video, it's basically your standard third-person... It's a third-person beat-em-up, basically. You have simple movement controls. You're able to perform a tail whip. You can do a boost that is kind of like a sprint. You have a short range lock-on bite attack, and you spend most of your time just like floating around looking for things that are smaller than you to eat. You end up the progression. Keeps there mentioning progression. The progression is done via. We should be able to see it here, maybe.
Well,
okay, it's not actually showing up.
You have quests.
Yeah,
and then...
it's not directly showing up here, but there is. You basically you eat certain types of fish food to gain certain types of minerals and nutrients and stuff. So you've got things like you gain it's I forget what the blue stuff's called, but like you get that from turtles, so you spend a lot of time attacking turtles in the water. When you munch barracuda, for instance, you get fats, which just your progression is done via you get so many points of fats and minerals and all that stuff, and then you'll be able to increase in level. You also age up throughout the story as you get so many points. The main progression isn't actually quest locked though; it's locked to getting bounty hunters. And the way that the game does that is, as you eat people, you gain like threat level. It's kind of like how games like Grand Theft Auto would have a wanted system, where you start committing crimes, you get more stars, and then eventually the cops will come at you quite violently. It's the same idea in this. When you start eating people, you get detected, and your shark attack is alerted to. Ships come in with bounty hunters trying to cap you for the reward, and if you continually take them out, eventually a named bounty hunter, which is like a mini boss, will spawn and come along, and basically you beat them up, you eat them, and you gain a new ability or a new upgrade. I think the last one is also required to reach the Elder stage, which you would think would be like the final boss, but I think it's the final boss and final bounty hunter for the Elder stage. You also get shortcuts throughout the different areas that allow you to gain either shortcuts or access to hidden areas, where you'll find these cache items or caches, whatever, which basically are just like it's basically like an experience dump. You attack a box and you get like 10,000 fats or something, and you can upgrade your stuff. And there's also a sort of class system to the game as well. Like it's actually quite complicated when you get into the full amount, but like the first shark setup that I had is the default one, that it's the main one that you unlock throughout the game, the bioelectric set, where you get things like you get the bioelectric tail, which allows you to do a ranged attack when you tail whip. You get the fins, which allow you to electrocute anything when you do a dash. And you get the teeth, which every time you bite something, it sets off a small radius, like AoE attack with it. And here we're actually back to the bioelectric shark. And then, of course, you also get a set bonus, which I'm pretty sure is whenever I teleport, there's a secondary little pulse that is that ring that you can see there. That happens every time I teleport, whether I do it in or out of water, and it gives a stack of 3 stuns to anything caught within it. If anything hits 10 stuns, they're immobilized for like 15 seconds. Meaning, if you do that to a bounty hunter boat, you get basically half their health bar for free, because they can't even defend themselves while you eat away at their boat. So it really incentivizes getting those points up to unlock the better quality gear. I mean, even like what I just did to that boat, because I rammed straight into it, it got hunted quite a distance. Like, it would have been lesser if I didn't have the set bonuses. So there's actually a degree of like MMO level stat watching that you got to do in this game, which is kind of nuts when you think about it.
Okay, so Nav, star or no star?
No star, because it's a bad game. No, I kid. It's actually probably one of my favorite games. So definitely.
All right, Bullhead, star or no star?
Star.
Okay.
I didn't get as far as you two. Like, I know you two got very far, but if they were like, hey, you could be level 1 and just eat animals in the ocean, like you got my. I'm all in, because I just turned my brain off and I just started eating turtles, and that was it. Time passed by and I enjoyed my full playthrough of this game.
A lot of the game is actually like that, and you can do that.
Well, yeah, you were mentioning like
you don't even have to play the quest. You could just go ahead and munch.
Just eat. Yeah, that's what I was doing. Like, and I was mentioning before about like certain animals gave certain things. Like it shows on the UI. Like when you ate a fish, there was an icon next to the name,
Right.
telling you what like that fish gave when you ate it and everything like that, or the turtle or whatever.
Yeah,
So,
I think it wasn't showing the stuff that's appearing at the bottom there, because in the later part of the footage, I've actually fully completed everything minus the DLC, because that's the only thing I don't have. Which
Yeah.
I would actually buy the DLC for this. I'm seriously considering it.
I should do it.
It's good enough for it.
But yeah,
Oh yeah,
start from me. I don't really have to explain everything. Nav just sat there and explained everything.
You know, Nob did. He did an excellent job in explaining it. So, yeah, okay. So, I will say definitely a star for me as well. What about you, Bales?
Well, this game was something we played during a time when I was dealing with health issues, and that's one of the biggest regrets I have about this, is that it looked like so much fun to play, and now I have so much on my plate I can barely handle another game. But like, I really was like, oh man, this looks like such a great game. Like, I really want to play this game. So hopefully eventually I'll get around to it. If the gameplay looks amazing, I'd definitely give it a star.
Okay, so
I
I will go
would
back.
highly recommend it for you.
Yeah, I will highly recommend it. However, there's one thing I didn't like about it. And that was those stupid license plates.
Oh yeah, the collectathon thing.
I had such a hard time getting 100% just to get those.
That is one legitimate argument thing that they did do a little bit. Slightly annoying is the sheer amount of collectibles.
Yeah.
In order to complete each area. Plus, each area's 100% completion unlocks new parts for a new set of fins. For instance, I think the shadow set requires that, which, depending on your playstyle, you may really like the shadow set. I kind of like it because it's super fast. But in order to get that, you do have to 100% each area, which can actually be a bit tedious. But if, like with what Bullhead was saying, if you just basically are turning your brain off and just swimming around eating stuff, you could do it. I mean, I think I was playing the game for less than a month. So it's not like it was a massive time investment to get the 100%, but then it does depend on how good you are with the controller or keyboard and mouse.
Well, the games, I think, story-wise, doesn't take long to complete, right? So I'm assuming they put all those collectibles in to like fill in some extra.
Yeah, a lot of it's kind of filler. A lot of the content is kind of filler in that regard, because the game itself, if you were to sit down and be like, right, I'm going to complete this in a sitting, you could. It's like an 8-hour game if you're just going solid on story. But then, to me, like that, you're missing half of the point you would be playing a game like this for, if you did that.
Agreed. So yeah, so we are at three stars each for that. We are having problems with changes, so we're just gonna keep going. Ingenuity, guys. What did you think of that?
Well, I'm gonna give it the star on the Ingenuity just because it's Miami Shark in 3D, and I loved Miami Shark. So yeah, it gets a star for that.
There we go.
Your scene list looked like my inventory in Final Fantasy X when I first played. Needed a lot of organization.
Oh, I think we'll be talking about that game in just a little bit.
Which game?
Oh, Final Fantasy X.
I was playing. Oh my god, I was streaming it a while ago.
I have a feeling.
like a long time ago, and someone came into my chat and they were like, "Is that your inventory?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "Are you using any effects on items and stuff?" I'm like, "No, I'm just hitting things with my attacks." And they're like, "Oh my god, dude."
That's probably why Final Fantasy VII took me like 200 hours to
I'm
beat.
gonna fix this later. Okay.
Nav, I
Like an
100%ed it in
thing.
less hours than that.
That's it.
Oh
We'll
my
deal with it
goodness.
later. Alright,
Yeah,
ingenuity. There we go.
you gotta like.
Perfect.
For me, I literally could be a shark and kill people without a problem.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. I just found it different. I found it fun. And I loved the fact that I was able to 100% it, and I was able to use mutations and things like that. So, that's how I feel. Nav.
Well, by the definition of the question, technically, I would actually have to say no,
No?
because I have played a lot of what this game does in the past. Because I played Miami Shark, I played LA Shark, I played all of those Flash games back in the day,
Oh.
where you literally you probably noticed that I do it quite a lot on this. Whenever I come up out of the water and I'm like jumping, I'm performing the dodge boost move,
Yeah.
which gives me quite a high distance. I was actually able to jump up part of a structure and actually get under the map because I was able to time it right to get very high jumps. Which straight up reminded me of things like in Miami Shark, if you play it long enough, eventually you will be able to jump high enough that you can literally bite the moon and rip it down into Earth, destroying the planet.
Okay.
So, you know what I mean? Like, generally speaking, this game doesn't actually get as crazy as it could, but at the same time, I would definitely be very looking forward to a Maneater 2 if they ever make one. I'd be all over that.
So ingenuity-wise?
I mean, ingenuity-wise, I would say yes, because there aren't that many games that actually do all of the stuff like this. And I mean, it's things like, you know, you've got like the Grand Theft Auto argument of is it best to keep things relatively simple or to sprawl out like some Cthulhian monstrosity? And Maneater keeps it relatively simple. I mean, I think literally the most technical ability they have is when you're fighting the bounty hunters, when they drop tanks into the water, like proximity depth charges, you can swim up quickly, bite them, and then you can actually perform the tail whip move, which allows you to launch them at speed. And if you hold the button, the game goes into slow motion. That's about the most complex that the game actually gets, and I think it's very much a good thing that they keep it simple.
Okay. Bullhead. Yes.
I'll give it a star. I mean, there's not a lot of types of games like this in the genre. Where like I know Stray is an example of something that just came out. I think there's another guy it's getting like traction on Twitter where he's making a game about a squirrel. So like, I think it's a cool concept that you get to play as an animal and do cool stuff, and it just, I mean, I'm a shark biting and killing people like in Jaws, so I'll still give it a star for ingenuity because it's doing something that's not done too often.
Okay.
Like I know Nat was talking about like the Newgrounds games and stuff, and I remember playing Echo the Dolphin back in the day on the Genesis. Yeah, so it's cool to see more games like this come out, and I hope like many more cool ones do in the future.
Thank you for the hydrate. Thank you, Graham. Okay, so that's a star. Last one, males. What did you think of it?
So I just have one question before I do this. Was there a skill tree in this game?
Mm,
I couldn't remember. It's been a month or two since I've
not
seen it.
not really. There's
Okay.
there's not a skill tree as such.
That doesn't
but
change anything
different
about my
parts.
answer.
Certain parts will unlock different moves, but only while
Right.
you have that attached.
Yeah.
Sure. This makes it like an interesting combination. It's like an underwater shark. Basically, Link has become a shark. Like, this game seems a lot like Zelda, where you get a new move instead of a new a new piece of equipment. But each level potentially or area of the map being different. I've seen people go into underwater research facilities and stuff like that while I was playing. I don't know if that's the right term for what I saw, but yeah. And it was very interesting to see these things as I was watching it. And as Nav had pointed out, there are other games that do this. But did they do all of this in one game? And that's the real question. And that's what it brings to the table, is taking some of the best aspects of all of these other games and bringing it into one game for you to play with. So
Yeah.
that's where it gets my vote for the ingenuity.
All right. We're at the last bit, and that is the overall. The overall.
I'd give it an overall hell yeah.
I think all of us will agree that it's like, you got Game Pass, just install it. Go kill some sea turtles. Feel joy in your heart. Move on to maybe some barracudas. I don't know, whatever fish you like. And just start munching away. Turn your brain off, and you'll be happier in life.
I would agree. It was absolutely.
Leave the crocs until you're level 10 because they are bad.
Yeah, I killed one when I was like level 3. They're like level 8 when you first encountered it, and I'm like, holy crap. But then I'm stubborn. So I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do?
Yeah, you've gotten further than me in Elden Ring. So
I'm gonna kill a crocodile. You're dead, kid. And then I killed one. That's it.
You trying to tell me you died them to death?
Yep. They died me first a few times. And then one died me as I almost had a sliver of health. But then I died one myself.
Oh no. Oh. Let me get this to work.
They gave good experience. And they
Right.
gave other stuff too, I believe, but it was fun.
Okay, so I'm gonna give it the point. Just it looked like a heck of a lot of fun. I'm watching my language. I mean, it's something that I've really been anxious. Like, I really want to play it. I just need to have the downtime, and I have so much going on right now. But it is like right at the top of my list of things to play.
That's why.
So,
I
Carsa, that leaves you.
Go.
Yeah, so this is kind of funny, but our first one, other than Nom, did you actually give it a star too?
yes.
This is the first one that we have a 100%
Negative
other
Ghost
than-
Rider.
other
Yeah.
than Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy what?
It's 10.
Jeez, who mentioned that we were probably going to end up talking about that game in a few minutes?
Yeah, because that game was 100%. This game was 100%. We have a 5 out of 5 when you take all of these and mesh them together. So
Yeah, because we'll take the highest ranks and the lowest ranks, for the highest scores and the lowest scores, and we'll take them away. And whatever's left, that's the score.
No,
Shockingly, it gets everything.
it's not the way going forward. But you could do that in this case, and the score would not change. So,
fortunately, I have a stuck thing, so I'm gonna take 1
That-
second.
Nav, I have to ask you: have you played Final Fantasy X?
I have.
Have you
There we
beaten Final Fantasy X?
I have.
All right. That said, we have
Now,
two
the
titles.
the other question that you're not asking there, would I give it a very high score? No, I would not.
Well, that's not what we asked.
Okay. Yeah.
You weren't part of NRT at the time, which means you could have given your opinion at that time. That said, we have to ask all four people here which one they would rate higher, and I think Nav just answered that for us.
Yeah.
From his perspective, Bullhead, let's hear what you have to say about that. Which one of these would you rate higher? And for viewers, please keep in mind that this is not like saying, "Oh, this game is worse than the other one." So
Yeah,
It's
it's
not.
they're totally
just which one we
different
prefer.
types of games. You
Absolutely.
can't. Yeah, you cannot say, "Oh, this is a better game because it's got a shark," and Final Fantasy doesn't have a shark, therefore it's worse. Nah, it doesn't count.
Yep, we're just saying, as players, which one is our preference, just so you as the viewers have a little more content.
My opinion, probably Final Fantasy X. But Maneater has way better water playthroughs than 10 does. I remember swimming in 10 was garbage. And then they made me go in that stupid water bubble for so many hours. Stupid. But Maneater,
Yeah, there's no Blitzball. There's no Blitzball, so it's a better game.
Maneater's way cooler.
You know, I have to agree with the fact that there was no Blitzball and it was so much more fun. I mean, because I couldn't do the Blitzball.
Yeah, garbage.
So,
You
and
don't even
I
have to, but it's
100%
annoying.
this one, and it was just. I have to give it to Maneater.
Well,
Yeah.
that leaves me.
Yeah.
Righto, so I have not 100%ed Final Fantasy X. To 100% Final Fantasy X, you have to sink hundreds of hours into it. And a lot of that is grinding. So if you're a grinding person, that's, go for it. But just for the story aspect, I have to give this to Final Fantasy X. Because while I don't know all of the plot of Maneater, there's absolutely no way anybody can ever tell me the plot line in Maneater was as good as the one in 10.
Okay,
That's
I'll
such
give
an
you
amazing
that.
story.
I will give you that.
Like
I
any
don't know. I
game,
mean, we didn't even go over the plot.
we can't because we don't want to spoil that. Like,
Right.
I can't tell you, like, why the plot of Final Fantasy X I feel was better than this because it would literally spoil the some of the plot points. So
Yeah.
True.
So I definitely give it to this, to Final Fantasy X, sorry, because it's just, as far as Blitzball goes, I think I'm one of the 4 players in the world that really, really liked playing Blitzball. It was one of my favorite aspects of the game. So, yeah, so here we have it, guys.
Overall, 5 out of 5. Mixed views of whether it is better than or higher than Final Fantasy X, but it is on the same realm and it's an A list. Is that an A list or SS list? I don't know. What is the highest?
That would be, yeah. Typically people use S, but SS tier is also in some games, so this would be S or SS as you would.
Yeah, SS.
I would simply say, in terms of keeping things relatively simple, it's definitely one of those, like, it's an S rank, it's really good.
I think we should
if
say,
it's your type of game, this is probably one of the best of its type.
I think the only way, I think everything right now that hits full point should be considered an S tier game. And the only time we should ever be able to come up with an SS tier game is if all 4 of us agree it was better than both Maneater and Final Fantasy X.
I would agree. I would absolutely agree. So
that
being
stands.
said,
I guess that would stand to say that whatever we rate SS tier is what we consider the best, basically the best game we've ever played for reviewed.
Yep. All right. So what that does is that brings us to the new game that we are going to be choosing to talk about, and that is this.